My nephew's voice trembled over the phone. "Uncle, Mom's been lying on the floor for hours. She won't wake up." The words cut through the static. Then silence. I froze, keys in hand, breath uneven. "Stay on the line with me," I said. But before I could ask where his father was, the call ended. No goodbye. No sound. My chest sank, my stomach twisted. I drove through empty streets like a ghost, headlights slicing through fog and guilt, the kind that sneaks up on you before you even know why you should feel it. When I reached their house, the front door was ajar. The lights were off. I stepped inside. The air hung heavy, too quiet. And there she was, motionless on the living room floor. A wine glass lay tipped beside her, a half-empty bottle on the table. My nephew curled against her side, eyes red from crying. "She's cold," he whispered. I knelt beside her, pressing my hand to her wrist. "Cold? Yes, but not gone." Her pulse fluttered, weak but alive. The ambulance came. They called it an overdose. Accidental, they said, but a look frozen on her face, caught between guilt and fear, told me something else. I didn't know it yet, but that night marked the beginning of everything unraveling. She survived, barely. The doctor said she'd been mixing pills and wine for months. My brother Daniel, her husband, stood by her bedside, face carved from stone. Tired, yes, but not worried. "How did this happen?" I asked. He shrugged. "She's been struggling. You know how she gets." I knew her patterns, but this felt different. I stayed to help. Cared for my nephew. Cleaned the mess. Watched Daniel move through the house like he owned more than the walls. He avoided her eyes and mine. One night, I noticed his phone buzzing on the counter. A message preview flashed. "You said she'd be out tonight. Did you change your mind?" From a woman I didn't recognize. I should have looked away, but I didn't. Scrolling through the thread felt like peeling my own skin. Weeks of messages, hotel receipts, photos. My brother's betrayal spilled across the screen. And one picture froze me entirely, him and her, in my sister-in-law's bed. The sheets still looked the same as that night, when I carried her to the stretcher. I'd smiled when he spoke, nodded when he lied. Inside, something quiet began to calculate. Every night after they went to bed, I collected small truths like fingerprints. Deleted messages recovered from her phone. Pill prescriptions refilled too soon. Timestamps that didn't align. She wasn't the addict. She was the target. Daniel had been slipping her medication, slowly upping doses. Enough to make her doubt herself, enough to break her. And when she finally snapped, he'd have custody, the house, everything. I stared at her sleeping form, pale beneath hospital sheets, wondering how long she'd been drowning, without anyone noticing. Then I found the will hidden behind a photo frame. She had changed it last month. Everything went to her son, not Daniel. I realized then, this wasn't a cry for help. It was survival. She tried to escape, and he made sure she couldn't. The toxicology report arrived a week later. A friend in the lab had run a private test. The results were clear. The sedative in her system wasn't hers. It was Daniel's. When I handed him the report, his face shifted from confusion to pale disbelief. "What's this?" he asked. "Evidence," I said quietly. "You've been drugging your wife." He tried to laugh. "You can't be serious." "Save it." I cut him off. "The dosage matches your prescription, your name, your handwriting. You did this." His mask cracked. Anger melted into fear. I didn't flinch. "Yes, you did." He reached for me. I stepped back. Watching him realize I knew everything was like watching glass shatter in slow motion. Beautiful in its own way. Only destruction can be. I didn't go to the police. Not yet. I gave him a choice. Tomorrow morning, he'd walk into the station and confess. The sedatives, the affair, the manipulation, or I would with proof. He spent the night pacing, sweating, trembling. At dawn, he left alone. By noon, he was in custody. I watched the evening news. Local man arrested for attempted poisoning of spouse. His mugshot flashed, eyes hollow, lips pressed thin. I wonder if he finally understood fear. She woke days later, remembering nothing of the night she nearly died. Perhaps that was mercy. She asked about Daniel. I told her he'd gone away for a while. She didn't ask where. That night, I tucked my nephew into bed. He smiled in his sleep, safe, unaware. The house was quiet again, but this time the silence felt earned. I walked into the living room, stood where I'd found her lying. The floor still bore the faint stain of spilled wine. I rested my hand on the wall, breathing in the emptiness he'd left behind. In that stillness, I understood something simple and absolute. Justice isn't loud. It whispers. And when it finally speaks, it leaves nothing behind but silence. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. Subscribe to Cheating Stories Insight World for more incredible stories.